Greetings, gifted ed classmates. Hey, this video, a slideshow and links are to help introduce and maybe apply a little bit more about Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences. As those of you in education know, that Howard Gardner is most likely the most popular or most commonly known name on all of the theorists that we studied for this unit, as his multiple intelligences theory has spread throughout education and not just in the gifted program. Almost, as we'll see in the slideshow, in an overreaction to Terman's focus on intelligence testing to identify giftedness or talentedness, Gardner's multiple intelligences really opened the door for many students who would never have been thought of as gifted or identified as gifted. Hang in there through the slides and the links, and I'll see you here in a little bit. I really enjoyed this quote on page 15 of the textbook and there in chapter 1, where Gardner states that intelligence is too important to be left to the intelligence testers. And I really think that sums up his thoughts well. And the idea that he was fully, as I said before, against the idea of narrowly focusing just on intelligence and giftedness. As you saw that in your studies, that he had 7 intelligences originally and added the 8th of the naturalistic, was added, I believe, a few years after his initial theory was established. In identifying those multiple intelligences, it's interesting to note that I think there have been overreactions both on the letting everyone in sign, I guess if you say it in, or identifying anyone as gifted if they are simply gifted or talented in one of the intelligences, versus there's been an overreaction on the other side to where we think that, or some have thought that students need to be gifted in all of the areas. And so one idea that I took out of the chapters was the student may be gifted in one or more intelligences, but not in others. And it is necessary to explore them all, but not necessary to be gifted in them all. There are many worksheets like the one I have linked here for free on the internet, or there are many places you can purchase programs to do the same thing. But anything that will take students through not just their how they enjoy the intelligences or the areas which the intelligences fall, or if they are good at them, or if they have a skill in them. And again, the one I've linked here that hopefully will pull up soon is simply a worksheet to just get started. I will show you a slideshow here in just a minute that has a few more in-depth questions. But as you can see that there are 8 sections that correspond with the 8 intelligences, and then a chart that kind of helps plot where you land and some instructions for that. Again, this is simply one I found that will take you through exploring all. Notice it's probably necessary to explore them all, but again, gifted students do not need to. For students to be considered gifted, they do not need to be gifted or excel in all of them. And then, like most things, the problem is not in identifying, but the implementation of these strategies. And I found a really helpful slide share where a professor has essentially done this for us. And I really just wanted to breeze through it, then show you the last few slides as far as implementation goes. So again, if you follow the link to the slide share, you'll come up with this short presentation that goes through all the introductions, and I won't bring it all through you, but I will show you a couple of things that I think this does a really good job of, especially if you're studying and really go deeper. It goes through this professor goes through each of the intelligences and really describes them, and then not just in the definition, but goes through what those learners, how they might learn better or how they maybe excel. And it'll go through all of them right in a row in a very parallel format, which I think is really good. The second thing I think this slideshow does a really good job of is compares a traditional view of intelligence, like many of the theorists we've studied, with the multiple intelligences theory, and it goes back and forth about how it's tested in different types of tests, or how we might see it in schools. But this last one is the one I wanted to show you, these last few slides. And it shows us how maybe each of the intelligences can be applied in the classroom, whether it is a pull-out situation in a gifted program, or whether a push-in where we are helping other teachers out. And it really just goes through teaching activities, the materials you might use, instructional strategies, and then even how teachers might present a skill. And so if you just start with linguistics, again, where everything from lectures to discussions to word games to storytelling, and so on and so forth. I won't read time, but I think this link really helps see how this can be applied in numerous ways, almost in too many ways. It's a little, as a former classroom teacher, it's a little overwhelming to think if we have students who fit all of these and how to differentiate our instruction for a number of them. And if you have a number of those kids in classes together, then it is quite a chore, or maybe a challenge to get them all addressed. Well, I hope that helps. I hope the presentation and the links help us become more aware of Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences.